Hi, and welcome to my instructional video on how to play Castle Crashers. Let's talk about the setup, where we need 4 cones and they are the shrines. The shrines are inside the castle zone, which could easily be a 3-point line. On the other side of the area are who we call the invaders. They do start with a foam ball, but inside the castle zone is somebody that we call the defenders. Their job is to make sure that the invaders don't win. As you can see, we have it set up here. The cones are sitting on top of hockey nets just to give it a little bit of elevation. Now let's talk about the base build. Now inside this base build, we're going to talk about the basic rules of the game. Now inside during the gameplay, only the defending team is inside the castle zone. The invading team must stay outside the castle zone at all times. If a player throws a ball and it does hit one of the shrines, and knocks the shrine over, that is the object of the game. If the team knocks down all 4 shrines, the invaders, they win that round. If the defenders hold them off for 5 minutes, the defenders win that round. Now, if somebody throws a foam ball and they get hit, they are technically out. To get back into the game, all you need to do is go touch your end wall, the defenders need to touch the defending wall, invaders need to go touch the invaders wall, and then you're back in the game. If a ball is thrown and it's caught, the person who threw the ball is technically out and they need to go touch their end wall, and then they are back inside the game. You could also use the balls to block another ball. If that happens, nothing happens. It's acting like a shield. Here we'll talk about the first build. Now inside this build, students are allowed to build forts using any object that they could find. I use hockey nets, you may use trifold mats, but whatever is available. Now each team gets to put up and establish 3 different forts. This really adds a new dynamic to the game, as now this changes the strategy of just running in and trying to throw. We can actually set up stations to hide behind, give some obstacles to play around. It really changes the dynamic of the game. Now the whole point of the fort is if somebody were to throw a ball and it bounces off the fort, nothing happens. It acts as a protection piece for those players behind that fort. And now we're going to introduce build number 2, where we have a new character in the game and they are called Knight. Now a Knight, they are 2 people on each team who have a pool noodle. Now this pool noodle is acting as kind of representing the Knight's sword. If a Knight touches another player with their pool noodle, that other player is effectively out, and they need to go touch the end wall to come back into the game. Now Knights, they are not invincible. If they are touched by another Knight, or they get hit by a foam ball, the Knight is effectively out as well. What happens when the Knight gets out is the Knight will drop their pool noodle, and they need to go touch the end wall to come back into the game. When this happens, the Knight cannot be the Knight again. They have to wait until someone else from the team goes and picks up the sword and they become the next Knight. The previous Knight simply becomes a regular player inside the game. Now this final build in the game is where we introduce our last player, and they are called the Priests. Now priests are used to bring players back into the game. No longer can players go back and touch the wall to come back into the game. The priest needs to do that job for the team. Now, what happens is when a person is out, they need to call for a priest to come bring them back into the game. This is done by simply just touching the person who is waiting on the ground to be brought back in the game. When they are touched, they can come back in the game and continue to play. But what happens if the priest gets hit? If a priest is hit, they need to be brought back to life by the other priest. Each team will have 2 priests available. If the other priest does not come to revive the first priest, they cannot come back in the game, and they cannot pass their duty on to anybody else. So the second priest needs to come and bring the other priest back in the game. If both priests are hit during the game, both priests are out and the team can no longer revive other players. Thank you for watching and taking the time to catch this quick video. Make sure you hit that like button and you subscribe for more videos and more games coming soon to the channel.